Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me again tonight. Um, as most of you know, today marks 12 years since I lost Caleb, and this day it's been a little emotional today. I have shed a few tears um, about Caleb and missing him, and but as I've said before, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a certain day that I get emotional about him, but I just wanted to do a little video today um, because I'm always going to remember this day. Anytime a life changing event happens in our lives, we're going to remember that day, and obviously, this was one of those. And as painful as that day was for me, and like I said, I'm never going to forget that day. Today I've just been thinking about a little bit. For some reason, I just kind of got this idea in my head thinking about not necessarily how this day affected me, but how it affected Caleb. Um, Obviously, this is a day in my life that 12 years ago I would not want to have happened. A day of extreme tragedy for me, and sorrow and grief, and just shattering of my world. But then I started thinking about little Caleb and how he was in his bed. And suddenly, for some reason, I thought about how, in my mind, because I obviously believe that Caleb is in heaven, that's where he's at now. That's where he's at waiting on me. In his little bed. And maybe, because obviously I don't know, that the angels came and woke him. And they just said, you know what? It's time. Your work is done. And carried him to heaven to be with Jesus. And so for Caleb, I think this day is probably a day of celebration for him. And as hard as it is for me to deal with at times, um, that thought just came to me today for some reason. And, you know, I guess maybe the Lord is just trying to let me know, just kind of gave me that idea to, even though God knows my heart breaks, but I think that, on this day 12 years ago, Caleb was in the presence of God. And I believe that he, you know, I can just see him. And I have seen this vision so many times of him just raising his little hands and being in the presence of the Lord. And I feel like that the Spirit came on me today, earlier today, and just kind of left me with that. And kind of left me with that feeling of this day had to come. This day had to come for him. Um, and and as devastating and tragic as it was for you, little Caleb, he was he received his reward. He's, his work was done. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That a young child could touch so many lives, change so many lives. That God said, you know what? You're done. You're done. And well done, I'm sure. I believe that because Caleb's so precious. I mean, everyone that knew him, he was just so precious and such a loving child. And I am so honored that I was chosen to be his mother. And I do question, Lord, why would you pick me? Because I don't, I'm not anybody. I mean, and I know that I'm special to God. I know that I am. But when I think about how special and just perfect Caleb was to me, and I just have to praise God and thank Him that He deemed me worthy enough to be Caleb's mother. And and I I struggle. I struggle daily. I never know when emotions are going to hit. Um, I can be anywhere and just like have a complete meltdown or breakdown. But I've cried a couple times today, and I was my husband had laid down for a nap, and I was sitting on the couch, and for some reason, it just I just got this feeling of just like missing him so bad, and just like it just came out of nowhere because that's how grief works. It just sometimes it just comes out of nowhere, and I was just weeping, and it was almost like I could feel Caleb just like being right there with me, his spirit, and telling me it's okay. Because that was one of the few phrases that he said, it's okay. And which is why I have it tattooed right here on my arm. Um, and I just stopped crying, and um, I just feel like God's been so good to me today. He's good to me every day. He's good to me every day. Um, but He knows that I struggle with this because God knows my feelings. He gave me those feelings. He knows how I feel about having lost Caleb. Um, he knows, you know, that Caleb and I will always have that bond. He gave it to us. He gave us that bond. That's one of the reasons that I've started doing my videos from Caleb's room. As you can probably tell, this is Caleb's room with the Noah's Ark and everything. We had decorated Noah's Ark for him, and we hadn't gotten around to changing it. And of course, with his passing, that just didn't happen, but that's okay. Um, but I just want to take this day to be an encouragement. Um, to say to those in grief, these days are going to come. It doesn't have to be on that anniversary day. It doesn't have to be on their birthday or holidays or any day at all, any particular day. As we know, it can come in waves. And, you know, I think about that is the way that grief works. It kind of comes in waves, like everything's going okay, kind of calm there for a while. And then all of a sudden, it just kind of spikes up and then it goes back down for a while, or maybe it spikes up and goes down and spikes back up, kind of like that, kind of like the roller coaster thing, as I have said many times before. But I just had, it was just laid on my heart today to make a video today. I really wasn't sure that I was going to make one today because I wasn't sure what kind of emotional state of mind I would be in. But God's been good enough to me today to let me be okay today. Even with the tears that I've cried, I can assure you there have been days that I have cried much more than I have today. And then, like I said, I felt like the Spirit coming to me and saying, this is a bad day. This day brings bad memories for you, but I don't think it does for Caleb. I think it's just like it was his homecoming day. It was the day that he knew that he was going to be home with Jesus, and I cannot imagine the joy that he had. And I just think that the angels just cradled him up and carried him safely to the arms of Jesus. And as a human being, it brings me heartbreak. He was, he was my life. And throughout these years, there have been, and I'm going to read the Bible. So if you all don't believe that way, you can stop the video now if you want to. But I'm going to read the Bible because there's some verses that have helped me along the way that I would just like to share with you all. Any of you that are in grief, or know someone in grief. I mean, and if you do believe in the Bible, believe that it's God's holy word, maybe you could share this with them, or you could read this yourself if it's you that's dealing with this. But these are just some things for me personally that have helped me along the way, and I just wanted to share those with you tonight. So, the first one, which this is a verse that I have read for a long time, went over and over and over it since I lost Caleb. And it's very special to me. And it is in the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 12, verse 23. But now he is dead. Wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not return to me. Caleb can't come back to me. But one day, I'm going to him. And that brings me comfort. Because I know where he's at. I know where I'm going. And I'm going to see him again one day. And then in the book of Psalms, in verse 30, chapter excuse me, chapter 30, verse 5. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. And I guess that's how I kind of feel like that morning was for Caleb. And and that's going to happen to me too. There's going to be that morning of complete joy, complete, ultimate, pure joy that can only come from being with Christ. Matthew chapter 5, verse 4. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And these are promises from God. These are promises, so we know it's true. And I always give the credit for my survival of this tragedy to God. And as I have said, as tragic as this is and has been for me, God is going to turn this tragedy into a triumph for His glory. It has nothing to do with me. It's going to be for His glory, and I give Him all the glory. And then finally, one of my absolute favorite verses. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a promise that brings me so much comfort and peace, and just like there are no words to explain this. And when I read it, I believe that you're going to know why. It is in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 4. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. This world that we live in, that is full of hurt and grief and sorrow, is going to be the former, and they're going to be passed away. And we're not going to cry anymore. We're not going to weep for our loved ones. We're going to be right there with them, and we're going to be praising God. And that brings me so much comfort, and I hope it does for you too. And I thank you all again. Like I said, this was kind of like I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do one tonight. That God has given me a good day, and there's a reason for that. And I believe that what I am doing to try to help anyone out there, I believe that's part of it. And we know if we're saved and our loved ones are saved, or young children, or we know that there's going to be a reunion. And even on our hardest days, and we're still going to have those days. We're going to have those days when we are just, we're just a crying mess or whatever. But we still have that promise. This is not the end. It's not the end. We're going to be ushered out here, out of this world, just like Caleb was. And the people on earth that are here, they're going to mourn for us, just like we mourn for those that we've lost. But for us, it's going to be a day of celebration. So, I just want to thank you all for your support, especially this day. I've had a lot of people check on me and send messages, and obviously a lot of comments on my Facebook page, and I want you all to know how much I appreciate you. I really do. And I don't just say those words just because. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. The only thing I ask of you is to please pray for me. and give God the glory for anything that comes of this. That's the only things that I could ask from you all. Or also, I would ask you if you know of anyone that needs to talk. I've said a million times, find a way to get in contact with me if you can't, or if you know someone that knows me or whatever. But I will do my best. I will do my best to try to help you. I am not God, though. I cannot help you in that way, but I can try to do what He would have me to do to help you. So I just want to say that I love y'all and I appreciate you all. And thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. And I will see you next time. Until then, see ya.